What's up, guys? This is the Honest Outlaw here, and today we've got something cool for you. We have the FN 509 Long Slide Edge. Long name, long gun, and it should be a pretty fun little gun to shoot. Before we get into it, I want to mention my Patreon supporters. Thank you guys very much. You support me in every video, and because of that, we have ammunition and guns to shoot on the channel, and I really appreciate that. If you want to join the Patreon squad, all you have to do is click the link in the description. Also in that description is a link to a local shelter named Iowa. I'd really like you to go over and support those kids if you could. Just click that link, donate. I'd really appreciate it. Also, there's a link to Honest Outlaw swag, t-shirts, mugs, neck gaiters, cool stuff like that. If you're interested in that, go down to the link and check it out. Now the LS Edge, the 509 Edge is what I'm just going to call it from now on so I don't get super confused. I'm a simpleton from Iowa over here after all. Is a 5-inch striker-fired pistol with a whole lot of cool whiz-bang features that kind of the FN 509 series is known for, really, is adding a lot of features to a gun that is great right out of the box. This is no exception to that. However, this is a little bit more of a premium offering than the standard 509, which we'll get to here in a second. So, 5-inch striker-fired pistol based on the 509 with the same slide weight as the standard, like 4-inch, I think. So it still reciprocates really quickly, tracks really well, and the way they did that is mill a little bit out of the underneath of the slide, I believe, and they also have these Gigantosaurus slide cuts here in the slide there, milled cuts in the slide, which is what I was looking for there. They look really cool. They're super functional. Some people don't like milled slides because they can get stuff in there. I'm not going to argue with that. Personally, me, I shoot mostly for competition and for home defense and concealed carry and stuff like that. So those applications generally don't apply to me unless I'm hunting or something like that. But if you're looking for an overall like WROL military style firearm, maybe this isn't for you. Other than the slide cuts, it has the Browning high power cut on it, which I really like and is really functional. There's a whole lot of stuff up there to grab, which is nice because it is optics ready coming out of the box with arguably the best optics system out of all the MOS style systems, the M&P, the Glock. This is arguably the most secure, at least from a lot of people in the know, and I kind of agree with that. We're going to put an optic on it for the 1,000-round review, but for this, we're actually just going to shoot at iron sights because I haven't shot an iron sight gun in a while. This has got some pretty sweet iron sights. If you look at it there, it's got a kind of, not really a hooded, but it's got fins on the side to protect it, which is good because like 5 minutes ago I dropped it on the concrete when I was walking out here, and the fins did in fact protect the sights. It's got a very large, tall fiber optic front with a blacked out rear. Those are obviously to co-witness with an optic if you so put it on there. If you put the optic on there, you take this plate off, those fins go bye-bye, you still have the rear sight, and then you put the optic in front of it, and then you have your co-witness sights, which everybody loves. You can see on the front there, I got some concrete because I already smashed it on the ground. Sorry about that, FN. But it's got the Picatinny rail on it. It's got serrations in the rear too. If you're one of those classic guys, you'd like to go to the rear, do the slingshot method, the old Travis Haley slingshot method, you can do that. I still do that fairly frequently. It has some bomb texture on here, I have to admit. The texture on the rear strap is pretty good for a striker-fired gun, on the front strap as well, and then right where it counts on the side here, it's relatively aggressive with a scalloped and extended magazine release. So all the features that you could really want on a gun it has right here, including an upgraded trigger as well. It's got a flat face trigger that breaks at 90 degrees, and it does feel a little bit heavier than I would like it to have felt, but that's probably to make it super reliable. This is a duty competition style gun after all. Not only that, but it does have a two-toned look there. The graphite Cerakote on top with the black polymer framed looks very good. Undercut's really good as well, and it does have a beveled mag well for those quick magazine changes. If you take the mag well off, it looks like it has a little bit of a space here as well to pinch that mag and pull it out if you want to. The mag well's kind of a cool system. I really like this system. A lot of times when they put a mag well on the gun, like if you watch my last video with the VP9, the mag well is so obtrusive that it kind of pushes my hand up, and even though this is also like a 15-round size gun, the mag well kind of ends up just being part of the gun, and the magazines that come with the gun, 3 of them come with it, are 17 rounds plus 1, 18 rounds in the gun, giving you a very healthy capacity. I can't ask for anything else right out of the box. I don't see anything I would really add to this gun, so hopefully it all comes together in a great shooting pistol, but let's go find out.
Man, it's nice out today.
Yeah, it is. Let's see if the sights are on target here. We're about 45 yards. I'm trying to get out of the sun here so I can see a little bit. Shooting a little off. A little high. It's got a little bit more muzzle flip than I anticipated. I actually got these big old goony hands and I'm having a hard time finding some space to get a hold of it and wrench it back into place. But a similar problem I had on the VP9 because of the shorter grip length, I feel like. That one makes some noise. Well, I got that 10-incher a couple of times. Shoots pretty well. The iron sights seem to be on right out of the box.
That's good because I hate sighting things in.
I know you do. All right, we'll try her out here at about 65 yards, something like that. Where am I going, do you know?
Not paying any attention.
I don't have my ear pro on like a true professional, so I can't tell where the whether I'm even hitting or not, really. I don't know where I'm going. Here we go. Okay, so you just the trick to this gun is just, you know, putting the sights on the target and squeezing the trigger correctly. Like every other gun, as it turns out.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's weird.
Crazy how that works.
All right, now that I'm figuring this gun out a little bit here, I decided we'd go all the way back to about 80 yards. We might even move back a little bit further. I don't know, I just feel like shooting some long range with some iron sights. Whether I suck or not, I just want to have a little bit of fun, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The white target with the bullet holes blends in so well with the backdrop, and then with the sun coming at me here and then trying to use the iron sights, it's really nice that it has that green fiber optic front. However, I wouldn't say it's as bright as something like a Dawson Precision or maybe like a, what are those, like Dave Sevigny sights, or just any other fiber optic sight I've really ever used. It's relatively not HD, let's go with that. It's very dim. Dim was the word I was looking for. Got the last one though, that's the one that counts. That and the first one. Overall, super accurate gun. Took me a little bit to get used to the trigger. Feels like a custom trigger until you pull it, and then it's a little bit heavy, a little bit creepy, more so than I expected. In all fairness, the last few guns I shot were the PDP and the VP9, and both those have excellent triggers out of the box. This is pretty good, let's go with that. This gun looks cooler. So, as far as like controls on the gun go, I really like it so far. It feels very intuitive, very usable. All these ledges that you can use to operate the gun. I mean, I've never seen a gun with so many ledges. There's literally a ledge here to pull the magazine out if you want. There's a mag well to put the magazine in if you want. The magazine release is extended, so it's really easy to operate. Really easy to move back in. I already have it around it, but we'll pop it out just to make sure here. And just to show you how easy the slide is to use. The high power cuts are easy to use as well. Obviously, those fins could work really well off your belt if you needed to do that. Just everything is designed really well. It's like if you took a bunch of aftermarket parts, all the aftermarket parts that you want, the coolest slide cuts you've ever seen in your life, and you decided to put them all in a Glock, it cost you a couple grand. Well, this one cost you $1,500 to have it in FN. Is that worth it? I mean, I think it is. I really like 5-inch premium polymer frame guns. Like, I love my Agency Arms Glocks, and I love my Jagerworks G34. I like my Ed Brown M&P, so this is kind of right up my alley. However, it might not be up a lot of people's alleys, because a lot of people would be like $1,500 for a polymer gun is ridiculous, and in some people it is, for sure. If you got a stock PWP out of the box for $500, will it run as good as this? Yeah, it will. If you got like stock VP9, could you shoot it as good as this? You probably could. But again, this one looks cooler. It shoots really well. I wouldn't say it's the lowest recoiling pistol I've ever shot. I can promise you that. As far as polymer frame pistols go, it has less recoil than something like a VP9 or PPQ. However, it has more recoil than something like CZP-10F or Glock 34 or something like that. So it's really pros and cons, splitting hairs. You shoot all those guns relatively similar. However, some of them have better features than others. And as far as this one goes, super functional. I would have no problem using this as something like a home defense gun. FN 509, the 509 series is really reliable. I seriously doubt this one's gonna be unreliable. So far we've been shooting cheap or remanufactured ammunition through it, and it's ran it all just fine. You gotta shoot these days. It's 2021, so a lot of times I like to put factory ammo through a gun because that's what a lot of people are gonna shoot. However, I just can shoot at this point what I can get a hold of. And so far, cheap reman ammunition, 100 rounds through it, no problems whatsoever that I've seen. Recoil and pulse feels nice. It took me a minute to get used to the trigger, just because I've been shooting guns with awesome triggers there. By no means bad. It's just not VP9 good. But the gun looks cool, functions well, has all the features you want. Gonna dump a red dot on there here pretty soon, and then for the full review, we'll kick her all the way back to like 100 and some yards, and I'm willing to bet it's gonna be just fine. You wanna shoot it? Trigger's kind of weird. Now you're getting it.
Let's try this guy.
You're out. What'd you think?
I don't like this.
Well, tell me how you really feel.
It was really, I mean, what is it with these heavy guns being so snappy right now?
Well, that one's not very heavy.
I think it's heavy.
It's like 28, 29 ounces. Pretty similar to all the other guns.
I'm smaller than you, so to me it's a little heavier.
Maybe you gotta lift a little bit.
What?
Huh? Nothing.
Oh, I don't know what you said, but whatever. The trigger is super weird. The texture is super aggressive. I don't know. I do like the green.
I like the trigger face, but it seems like it should be lighter, no?
Yeah.
I mean, they're trying to split the hairs between a duty and a competition gun, but it's kind of one of those things where it's like, be one or the other, right? You know?
That means absolutely nothing to me, but I'm hoping it means something to you people out there.
I think it will, at least a couple. So overall, not a fan, huh? Compared to like the VP9, what do you think? The gun we shot the other day.
Well, I like that one better.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well,
I think this texture is even more aggressive. I don't like this. I don't like.
Well, see, I really like that.
Well, you like aggressive texture.
I do, right?
And I don't.
So sometimes it's not for everybody. I like the slide is really aggressive. The whole gun is really aggressive.
Like that's not my cup of tea.
I suppose.
I don't want imprints on my hands.
Fair enough. All right. So first impressions of the 509. Sits in kind of an interesting club, probably one of the more expensive polymer frame pistols as we talked about earlier. And it does come with all these cool features, and it does look better than almost every other polymer frame pistol I've tried this year. I really weirdly like the look. The first person I saw review this, I think, was Coleon Noir, and as soon as I saw this gun, I was like, damn, I need to get that. So I got it, and it shoots like, coincidentally, a longer 509. Very reliable so far, very accurate once I got on the gun. A little bit harder to shoot overall, I feel like, than the VP9 PPQ, or even maybe a Glock 34. The trigger's better than a Glock 34, but it's kind of weird and you gotta get used to it. Like, it's one of those things where if it was your only gun, you could get used to it real quick and you'd be on point, and then you'd be shooting it all day and you'd have no problems. Whereas if you transition from a lot of different firearms, maybe you'd find it a little odd, because it feels like an Apex trigger, and it looks like an Apex trigger, but it doesn't break like an Apex trigger. So for those of you saying that Apex put this in there or whatever, I don't think that's true. It's just not near as smooth as an Apex. It has a point where you're pulling it, and then you think it's gonna give, and then it gets a little caught on something. Maybe that's just my sample. And you gotta press harder than you would think you would have to press. Oh well, not a big deal. The sights are cool. I like the fins. It gives it a nice, interesting look. However, when you do present the firearm up, which is one thing I was interested in, the fins do a lot to cover up your sight picture. When I was shooting at distance, since the sights are so big, tall, and like thick, there's just a lot going on top of the slide. I kept finding myself dumping the gun a little bit down to see my target and then coming back up and acquiring the target. Partly because there's not enough space, air in the rear sight, but a lot of that is because there's just a lot of jumble fucking going on the top of the gun there. That wouldn't be a problem if you put an optic on it, which is why we're gonna do that for the full review. However, that is one of the reasons. I've never tried these iron sights and I thought they look really cool. And I would assume for a like military duty sight picture, you know, snapping on target and filling somebody with holes at like 10, 12 yards, it would be a very good sight picture. It would be a very durable set of iron sights. So I see the reason why they would do that. But for me, a guy that just kind of shoots and flicks around, it just gets in the way a little bit. Overall, killer gun though, I think. I think the magazine release works well. I think the magazine changes are gonna be really nice. We're gonna bring out a magazine pouch for the full review and do some magazine changes and just run this gun a little bit harder than we did today. Texture I really liked. Missus didn't like that so much. Trigger was pretty good. All the ergonomics I liked, however the Missus didn't like those so much. Recoil and pulse was a bit strange. Did seem like it was a little bit snappy, however the VP9 did too, so maybe I'm just getting a bit of a pansy in my old age. Overall, ran the Phoenix Reman really well. And some guns run that, some don't. So it's sprung really well from the factory. They aren't joking about the recoil spring and the slide weight being all the same. 5-inch guns sometimes are a little bit more sluggish in a recoil and pulse, and they won't run lower powered ammunition, whereas lighter slides have a tendency to run them a little bit better. Longer, heavier slide is gonna have a slower, more of a push recoil impulse, whereas a lighter slide is gonna have more of a snappy, quick recoil impulse, which I actually prefer. So overall, interesting gun, cool gun, definitely, in my opinion, worth the money. Maybe not to you, you decide. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Please support your local homeless shelters, and remember to recycle. I'll check you later.